for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
The NBA's defending champions reached the All-Star break with a record of 39-16. Cavaliers last night running past the ice-cold Pacers 113-104. The Warriors improved to 47-9. They crowned the Kings 109-86. And the Spurs racked up win number 43, putting a major whammy on the Magic 107-79. Elsewhere, Russell Westbrook made it 27 triple-doubles on the season. He led the Thunder past the Knicks 116-105. Clippers shot down the Hawks 99-84. Suns scorched the Lakers 137-101. The Jazz tuned up the Blazers 111-88. T-Wolves panned the Nuggets 112-99. The Heat burned the Rockets 117-109. Bucks cut down the Nets 129-125. Pelicans edged the Grizzlies 95-91. It was the Pistons 98, the Mavericks 91, Raptors over the Hornets 90-85, and the Celtics 116, the 76ers 108. That's sports. Mark Ernay, NBC News Radio.
Did you know that more than 100,000 people a day are downloading game apps? Mobile apps have become a normal part of everyday lives. Now there's a new exciting sports app that lets you play along with your favorite professional sports team in real time. With this fantastic app, you can predict the next play and even outguess your favorite team members. The more predictions you get correct, the more points you receive. Points can be exchanged for cool prizes, like your favorite jerseys, hats, airline tickets, sports tickets, even a new car. You can play this amazing sports app by yourself, with your friends, or even with a large group of fans from all over the world. This incredible sports app is called Fire Fan, and it's available right now. Check it out. Sign up today at www.freefirefanapp.com.
Practically perfect in every way, the classic Mary Poppins will fly into Riverside's Fox Performing Arts Center for 2 shows only on Friday, Saturday, February 24th and 25th at 8 p.m. Don't miss this timeless family favorite that has delighted Broadway audiences for years. Tickets are on sale now and available at the Fox Performing Arts Center box office. All Ticketmaster locations, riversidelive.com, ticketmaster.com, or charge by phone at 800-745-3000.
Did you know that 80 to 85% of children's brains are developed by the time they are 3 years old? The San Bernardino City Unified School District is sponsoring free parenting education classes for families of children ages 0 to 36 months. Classes include free childcare, a light meal, children's books to take home, and weekly giveaways. Graduates earn a certificate of completion. For more information, please visit www.infanttoddlersuccess.org or call 909-347-7313.
KCAA is your CNBC News affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the greatest real estate investment show ever. Here's the flip-flop investor himself, Todd Bayer.
Hey everyone, how we doing out there in Radio Land? My name is Todd Bayer. I am the Flip-Flop Investor, and this is the Flip-Flop Investor Show, where we get together every week and talk about real estate investment here locally in the Inland Empire and abroad. We could talk about it really anywhere. It doesn't change much unless you're in judicial or non-judicial states, but more than, it's pretty much the same thing. We talk about flipping. We talk about flopping. Last week we talked about flopping a little bit with our special guests, Bev and Rich. And, we talked about a big flop, which I'm sure he wouldn't like me to say was such a big flop, but it was a pretty bad one. So I was really thankful that Rich came out and talked about the bad deals, because we tend to learn more from the deals that go bad than we do from the deals that go good. Whenever we have good deals, we just feel like we're geniuses and we do this right and we're just the smartest people in the world. But the bad deals help you realize, okay, I screwed up. What do I need to do differently next time to avoid this from happening? So today in the studio, I brought a good friend of ours, Tyler Hungerford. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm pretty fantastic, Todd. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man.
All right.
It's always a good day.
Heck yeah.
we had you on the show actually, like what, about a month ago?
About a month ago, yeah.
Something like that. And at that time, you were focusing primarily on commercial real estate, and we still are focusing on commercial real estate.
Right.
But we brought you into a special position within the Community Restoration Group family of companies, and we brought you into as our acquisition specialist.
Right.
So this is a highly sought after position that a lot of people wanted because you get to learn the insider secrets from us on acquisition and finding deals.
Absolutely.
Which is always what people want to know is how do you find the deals? And it's not really a big secret for us. I've told people many times we buy most of our deals through the MLS and
Right.
through referrals that come our way. You know, we've built a pretty good sized network at this point. Most of our deals come that way, but we need somebody to handle that volume, and that's where you came in. So we're like,
Yeah.
all right, Tyler, you get to handle all the deals that are going to come our way, and handle all that just volume of emails and phone calls and all that stuff that have to go along with it. Because
Yeah.
you know, it's not as glamorous as it looks on TV, where you know a house just magically appears in our possession, you know, and then we have some people come out and you know we tell them that we're going to a listing in 4 hours and the house needs to be done and it's completely destroyed. That's not actually how it works.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, we brought you on because we need somebody to manage all that extra stuff that happens prior to even purchasing this house, and there is a lot.
There is a lot, and I still kind of wonder why you guys brought me on.
Well,
But,
you know,
I mean, it's been a great experience so far, though. I've really enjoyed it.
I think more than anything, you need somebody that's organized,
Yeah.
somebody that can handle a lot of stuff going on at once, you know. And you worked for the mayor of Riverside at one
did.
time. Like you have a good skill set already, you know, you're already good at these types of things, managing people, managing projects, all that kind of stuff. So you were actually our top candidate the whole time.
Oh, thank
know,
you.
we just let everybody else on to believe that they had a chance, but sorry, you didn't. No, but no, yeah, you're able to manage all those kinds of things, and you're organized at it, and you're actually interested in doing it too. There's some people that they don't even know they want to do it; they just think it will be cool. But I mean, you've gotten a kind of a different picture of it now, and we haven't even really launched you fully yet. There's still a lot that we're building.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in the back end that we're building, and we're not going to really talk much about that just because that is the tools of the trade and some of the secrets that we have that we use to find those deals. But
We'll give it away.
Yeah, but like
we give away everything.
Yeah, we really do. But like Todd said, I mean, we find every deal that we do on the MLS, and you know, using the criteria we have, I mean, there's just hundreds and hundreds and thousands of deals out there.
Sure,
especially in the Inland Empire right now.
Any house at any time can turn into a real estate deal.
Exactly.
You know, you don't know what's happening inside that house, and it could be distress from within.
Right.
You know, there could be something going on with the family. You know, a lot of times we hear about things. We heard about a deal today coming into the studio.
Yeah, exactly.
We heard about a deal that a family member has been renting a property to another family member, and they haven't paid rent in over 2 years. I mean, this
2
happens.
years?
Yeah, it happens. It's actually a fairly common story.
Really?
You know, it's amazing how often family members walk all over their other family members, but you know that's part of it. And a lot of times they don't want to address the issue, which is I have this house, I'm paying taxes and insurance on it, sometimes even paying mortgage payments, and the person that's living there is my cousin, my nephew, my whoever, and they're not paying rent, and it's just a huge hole in my pocket every month.
Absolutely.
So you know, they hire us essentially. Like we buy the property from them and take care of that problem, and it is a problem.
It is.
And we're trading some of the equity because we now have to evict their family member, and
Right.
you know, it's not always fun, but you know, usually we do offer some kind of incentive for them to move out quicker. We don't usually actually go through the full eviction process,
Okay.
but cash for keys is one of those things we call it, where we give them a certain amount of money, you know, to help them move, whatever the case may be, maybe put a down payment on an apartment, something, but
Right.
you know, it's time for them to start being responsible and, you know,
Absolutely.
paying their fair share, paying their way, you know, and it's funny. Sometimes these people are just at their wits' end, but yeah, that could turn into something. It might not. They might
Okay.
figure out another way to sell it. We don't know. You know,
Yeah, but we're always open to deals like that.
of course, yeah. In addition to talking about real estate here, we also talk about the Real Estate Investment Club that we also run. That is the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. If anybody out there is interested in getting into real estate investment, and I know there's a lot of you out there, we have the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, which meets at the Mission Inn every fourth Wednesday of the month. This month will be on the 22nd.
It will be the 22nd, yes, sir.
At 6:30 is when we open the doors. 6:30 p.m. we open the doors and start the meeting. We kind of network around for a little bit, enjoy some cookies. No longer any brownies. We got rid of the brownies.
We had to.
We had to. Nobody was eating them. I don't know if it was maybe the walnuts. People didn't like the walnuts
that
on
could
them.
be it.
Anyway, people would drink the coffee and have the cookies, and but that's not what the meeting's for.
No,
It's,
definitely not.
of course, the Mission Inn does make some very good cookies.
Yes, they do.
But yeah, we do it there. Starts at 6:30. We kick off the meeting at about 7. We do a economic update. We also we actually focus mostly on people coming in looking for deals. We don't sell anything at the club.
No.
There's no books. There's no boot camps. There's no other program. There's no big seminar we're going to put on in Vegas that you can come out and pay $300 for. Or,
Right.
There's no mentorship program that you can spend your life savings on. We don't do any of
Exactly.
that. We don't sell anything. It's just a club. We charge $20 at the door because the Mission Inn doesn't let us in for free. So,
Exactly.
if they did, we wouldn't charge anything.
Huh.
But so it's $20, and we focus mostly on networking with other real estate investors, and we have a haves and wants segment, which is great. Most people, like,
Absolutely.
if you have a deal that you're looking to partner up with somebody on, like maybe you need some money to do it, or maybe you have a bunch of money and you're looking for deals, you can go up there and say that too. Say, hey, I won the lottery and I have millions of dollars sitting in an account doing nothing. And I'd like to put it to work. Yeah,
There you go.
We haven't had it happen yet, but I'm
Hey,
waiting
you
for
never
the day.
know. You never know.
The more I talk about it, maybe eventually someone will be like, you know
You
what?
just put it out there,
Just keep putting it out there. So yeah, that's we do that, and then we just kind of do a who's here thing. Who's here? Are you a real estate agent? Are you an appraiser? Are you a property inspector? A termite specialist, pest control, insurance, anything? All kinds of people from all different industries related to real estate investment are there. So. Escrow, title, everybody, lots of people. So anyway, come on, check that out. That's the fourth Wednesday. We also do a couple other meetings. One of them is the Saturday morning coffee, which is coming up this Saturday.
This Saturday.
We're going to be doing that at Lift Coffee in
Delicious.
Riverside. Oh, it's great coffee.
Really good coffee.
We did it there last month for the first time, and I think we found our new home. We're going to be doing it there from now on, I think.
They've got great pastries. They've got great coffee, and the atmosphere is really cool too. It's actually their roasting warehouse, which is it's a really cool experience to be in there. I mean, they made it look really, really nice.
Definitely. Yeah, we had a good time last month, and I had to leave
Heck yeah.
early. I was going to check out a modular home builder afterwards.
Interesting fact: while we were there, we actually got pitched a commercial development property
We
or
did.
project,
We did.
and we will be moving forward with that. So, I mean.
That's a big deal.
Anything can happen at these meetings, and that's what's really cool about this club is anything can happen. There's so many people out there that have a need, and there's a lot of people out there that can provide for that. So I mean, it's been a really great process so
Absolutely. Yeah, and we've bought several deals with people in the club where we've joint ventured with them.
Right.
They found a deal, and they didn't have the money together or the experience, so we've put it together. We have access to a lot of capital for this kind of stuff.
Right.
And we have the experience. We've done quite a few flips. So people come to the club with deals and they want to partner up, and we've partnered up with them. They've partnered up with other people. There's
Yep.
people that we've never worked with that come to the club every month, and that's great. We support it.
Absolutely.
It's a community, and it helps us all kind of realize that we're not we're not crazy, because I know for a lot of people when they first tell their family members or their friends, like, I'm going to be a real estate investor, maybe they read Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Right.
or they read a book, that and got them all excited and interested in being an entrepreneur or a real estate investor or a
Right.
stock investor or something. And their whole family says, oh, nobody makes any money doing that. That's just a big scam, yada, yada. They tell you this stuff. Nobody actually makes money. Well, they're wrong.
They are very wrong.
Yeah, people make a lot of money doing this.
Yes.
But it does take time, and I think a lot of people are unrealistic as to the time it's going to take.
Right.
I'm an optimist. I'm a huge optimist, but even I'll tell you, you're not going to be able to get money for a deal or do a deal really for probably at least a year of dedicating yourself to it.
Right.
It takes time.
It really does, and I guess I lucked out quite a bit by getting to join a team like you and Steven have. I mean, it's just been a wonderful experience so far, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to get our first deal together done
Yeah.
as well, which should be here in the next month.
And you
which
won't.
is pretty exciting.
At that point, you won't attribute it to luck again.
No.
You'll attribute it to the hard work that you'll have put in at that point. You'll
Yeah,
say,
exactly.
you know what, I worked my butt off to get this deal,
Right.
this first one, and you'll say, you know, now it's making sense. Like I didn't luck into anything. Like
Right.
this is happening because I'm doing it. I'm making it happen.
Right.
So, yeah, it's definitely not a luck business. Some people might happen upon a deal. They'll
Exactly.
fall into one. That happens, but that's not the norm. It's
No,
definitely not for the
definitely
people
not.
that do it consistently.
But it's nice that Community Restoration Group has the tools available to help people out when they are trying to get into this business. That's been a huge benefit to me, getting to understand the system and everything that you guys have put together over the years, from all of the mistakes that you've made and all of the great things that you've done as well.
Sure.
Putting them all into an email and making it nice and simple for everybody to go out there and be able to achieve their dreams of becoming a real estate investor. That's huge.
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely free. That's absolutely free.
Because, you know,
It's amazing.
The reason why we do it for free is because it was given to us for free.
Okay.
Like, you know, over the years we've had mentors, people that we've known, and, you know, people just help us out of their, you know, like out of the goodness of their heart, I guess. So we're like, you know, there's no reason to charge for this stuff. Whenever you pay for information, like, you know, one of these like large seminar groups that go around the country and sell people on real estate investing,
Right.
They, you know, they charge a lot of money, and it's a lot of information they give you, and that's great. You know, a lot of the information, because we've seen a lot of these programs, people have shown us the materials they've gotten, and I mean, the material is pretty good. It's, you know, some of the tools that come with them, it's good stuff. It's not
Right.
like it's bad. It's not going to hurt you, but it's like drinking out of a fire hose. Or, you know, like,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of times people go through these programs and they don't know what to do next.
Right.
They're, you know, they're just inundated with information. They don't know what's the next step. And they've also now heard about several different methods for investing in real estate, several different types of properties.
Right.
You know, do I invest out of state? Do I invest in state? Do I buy probate deals? Do I buy short sales? Do I buy REOs? I mean, there's all
Right.
these different things that they're pitching at these different programs, and all of it's good information, but you sort of have to pick one, you
Right.
know, and go with it. And, you know, a lot of people don't know, like, well, I don't even know what I want to do. Because you have to kind of want to do it. You have to kind of like doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I love going to houses. I'm sad. You guys went to a house in Corona today, and
We did. We
I
missed
couldn't
you.
go. I was too busy paying AT&T bills for an hour.
Oh my God, that was nuts.
Yeah.
You're still paying them when we got back.
Yeah. If you have AT&T, they don't split up. They don't combine all your UVerse accounts. So if you pay for internet services at a bunch of
understand
different properties, yeah, you have to pay them separately, and it's really whatever.
Consuming.
Time consuming.
That's
a
the word.
good word. You heard it here. Anyway, yeah, I was bummed because I wanted to go. I like going to the houses, you know,
Yeah.
especially because this is one we're going to be buying, and it's a real ugly house.
It's
And
very ugly.
I love the ugly ones because
Absolutely.
they're, you know, it's always the swan property. You know,
Yeah,
it starts as the
definitely.
ugly duckling and it turns into the beautiful swan, and you know, we sell it and make a nice profit, and
Yeah.
you know, we're helping out the community.
Absolutely.
Of course, we make a profit doing it, which is nice. But you know, we always say if I could do it for free, I would. But
It's just because you love what you do, right?
I love what I do. You know, love the. Of course, you know, the money is good. So
Absolutely.
we like that part too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we give stuff away for free. We give away all of our materials for free. You know, we've produced a lot of stuff over the years. You know,
Right.
and it's just kind of like, here, have it. This is for the world to have now. Like we don't need to hoard the resources that we've
Right.
created, because you know, anybody can do this. There's deals everywhere. Every single month, thousands of properties are purchased in California alone as investment properties. So
It's insane.
you know, we're just two guys here, but the team altogether is only 4 people. I mean,
Right.
we're not, you know, we're not a huge organization. We couldn't even handle all that volume if we wanted
Yeah,
to.
not even a little bit.
So, yeah, the deals are out there. We don't mind sharing and having a community where, yeah, we're all competitors, I guess, you know, but we don't look at it that way because
No.
we have, you know, you find a property, you get some kind of a problem that comes up from it, and you just, you know, you deal with it, you know, and sometimes it's nice to share that information with your fellow investors and say, you know, hey, I just bought this property and, you know, it had a mobile home on it that we had to move. I had no idea how much it cost to move a mobile home, you know, so you can share it with the group, you know, like it costs a lot to move a mobile home off your lot. You
Well,
know?
and within that experience, I mean, you're all together as a community, right? And that's really what we're trying to do with the club and create that community group that really as everyone's close and can discuss things like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's hugely important in this business, is community.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, you can fail so many times before actually doing anything. I mean, it's just so easy. So learning from other people's failures and from their successes gets you excited and interested in moving forward too.
It does. And we love it. So, anyway, this is a real estate investment show. We could talk about anything real estate related. Yeah. I kind of wanted to talk to you because now that we've kind of thrown you into the ringer a little bit, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the surprises, some of the things you didn't realize maybe went into some stuff. Because, you've now seen, we've walked through quite a few properties with you now, where, like what sort of, like, what are some things that you thought would be different?
I didn't expect the amount of deals available. I just never thought that there would be that many out there. I mean, I'm constantly looking at MLS and it gets updated daily, and it's just like, holy cow, how am I ever going to be able to acquire all of these properties? It's like, there's no way. Yeah, there's absolutely no way. So I hope that gives a lot of people out there a sense of relief, because I mean, there's so many deals out there that there are available for you too.
We talk about that. We call that the scarcity mentality.
Yeah, the scarcity mentality.
Where people are, and this sometimes is the bad side effect of a community. I've been to like real estate sales offices where, usually they're looking for listings. These are agents looking to sell houses, and they're saying, oh, nobody's selling their houses. There's no listings available. There's no deals out there.
Right.
It's toxic. That's a bad environment to be in.
Right.
Where you have a community of people that are convincing you basically there's no deals out there, but there's plenty of them. There's a ton of them. There's deals happening right this second that, they may not even be a deal right now. And it becomes a deal when you can kind of talk some sense into people. Sometimes people need to realize they have an inconvenient house on their hands.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Scarcity mentality is, it's bad. It's toxic. People need to understand that there's plenty of stuff out here. Think about how many homes there are in Southern California alone. Right. I don't know the exact number, but it's going to be in the millions. I know that.
Yeah.
So there are millions of homes available at any moment, at any day.
Right.
That could become a deal. So don't have the scarcity mentality.
No, definitely don't.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from though, because people tell us that all the time.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming. Luckily, I'm getting trained and having an eye on which properties would work for us, which ones wouldn't, things like that. So it's been hugely eye-opening for me in terms of that process. I mean, just super duper surprised. Coming to work every day and making and feeling like it's Friday also has been a really big surprise.
It's Friday. You mean like you feel like, oh, awesome, it's just the last day before the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like awesome. Every day I go into that office and I'm just like, man, I'm just so excited to be here, and I feel so lucky to get the opportunity to work with two really just fantastic guys. And
I appreciate that.
Three fantastic guys, because Matt, I totally forgot about Matt. But
I thought you were talking about Matt and Steve. I thought you were excluding me.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, it's just been a great experience getting to work with you guys on these things and seeing how you guys handle everything. I didn't expect so much paperwork to be involved.
Oh man,
there's just endless amounts of paperwork.
Yeah, and that's we've gotten paperwork to a minimum at this point.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean God, we would have stacks of file folders just full of stuff. And it's trash. If the deal doesn't go through, it's just garbage.
Exactly.
Oh man,
but the BRE requires you to keep it for 3 years, right?
There's certain things you do have to keep for 3 years. Fortunately, that's actually not that much anymore.
Oh, good.
We keep most of that stuff digitally, but
sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no problem. No, I'm here for the interrupting. I don't even know what I'm here for now, but no. But the files got crazy, and we would be buying. I'd buy like 6 refills of toner cartridges a month. From just all the stuff we would print.
Wow.
Because. Like I've told you this earlier today, like Steve and I, we used to go out and look at 20 to 25 properties a day. So we'd have a full property profile printed up on every one of those. We'd have, and we'd go down to the house, we'd bring the listing with us, we'd bring an actual printed out version of the listing, and on the back we would write down what our estimation for a rehab was, and we'd write down what we estimated the house was going to sell for when we were all done with our rehab.
Wow.
And every single one, we'd keep them all in files. We had stacks of these things, and then it got to the point where we had to kind of manage them because you'd make an offer, they'd say no, and then it would fall out of escrow with whoever they ended up going into escrow with later, and then they'd come back to us and say, hey, do you still want to offer it? So we ended up having to start keeping these things around. We had to find places for them. So,
Wow.
Yeah, now we do most of that stuff digitally now.
Good.
We have them all on Google Drive,
Right.
Which is free.
Exactly, which is
thank you,
fantastic.
Google.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah, so
Quick plug.
Quick plug. It's free. If you don't use Google Drive, you should check it out.
Yeah, you absolutely should check it out.
Dropbox, it's free to a point. We don't use the free version because we store so much stuff on
goodness.
there. But
Learned that about the company too.
So those are new things. The amount of paper involved,
Yeah.
paperwork, and writing up offers. There's a lot of paper involved with that
Absolutely.
stuff too.
Another thing is I realized how easy it is to work with cities when they really want to make a difference in their area.
Yeah.
For us, a lot of what I do is not just acquisition, but it's also commercial development stuff as well. So, getting the chance to work in your hometown and finding deals and getting to tour, like we got to tour this last week. Or literally yesterday, pretty much for 3 hours with some city officials. I mean, it was pretty incredible getting to see Riverside from a different point of view, and trying to see what their vision is for the future of Riverside and how much money they're looking to put into the pot in order to make this place a better place to live for all of us.
It makes sense.
It's incredible.
Because they want to generate more tax revenue, obviously. And,
absolutely.
If they have non-performing assets within the city,
right?
They could convert that into an income stream for the city as well. So
right.
It makes sense for them to invest, obviously, in the city itself.
Absolutely.
So they do. The cities work with investors all the time.
All the time.
If you ever talk with a council member of a city, they're taking these meetings all the time.
All the time.
I know like pretty much every time we've gone, they have like some other blueprints that somebody dropped off at their office with like artist concepts. Like here's a shopping center we want to build. It's amazing. Every day, that's what they do, council members.
Absolutely. And what's crazy is a lot of those things don't go through. It's a few lucky ones that get the opportunity to push through to the final project.
Yeah, I think it's the ones the smart people that are asking the city, what do you want in this space, rather than doing it where they just assume I'm going to put a grocery store here or something.
Right.
But there's no need for a grocery store, and the city doesn't want a grocery store there. They're like, no, we actually would like that to be a school or something, Right. So you never know until you ask.
Exactly. So for me, it's been getting to see all the different aspects of this business in this office. I mean, I come from a commercial background, spent a year with Lee and Associates, and then about 6 months with another small company and as an agent, and getting to see how you guys do it is totally different. I mean, it's crazily eye-opening.
Yeah.
Just
we're a little more laid back.
A little bit more laid back. Yeah, we get to wear T-shirts and jeans to work every day. I mean,
when it's cold,
jeans when it's cold, shorts when it's hot, but always in flip-flops though, right?
Yeah, well, definitely me. I do own shoes.
Yes,
closed-toe shoes. I own these.
You?
Yeah, they just sit in my closet.
I didn't know that
because we're in California and it's flip-flop weather like 370 days out of the year. That means every day plus 5.
Yeah, there you go.
And 4.5 or whatever.
Yeah, but
on leap years.
To be to be a part of this environment, I mean, it's just been crazily eye-opening for me. There's a lot of exciting things going on with the company and the future growth and everything that you guys are doing with Community Restoration Group is just fantastic. So thank you for the opportunity to come and work with you.
I didn't bring Tyler here to like make me feel so good about myself.
Well, I know you didn't, but I just appreciate the fact that I get to work with you every day. It's just a lot of fun.
Well, we appreciate the fact we get to work with you every day.
Well,
so there you go.
There you
right
go.
Back at you.
Boo boo.
Okay,
awesome.
So any other surprises? Any other things that have come up that
goodness.
you're like, this is just crazy. I didn't believe that real estate. I had no idea. That I mean, there's I think a lot of surprising thing for a lot of people is really the sheer number of things we have to look at.
Absolutely.
Before we even get into a deal itself. There's just looking at properties. I think today I told you. We're going to be looking at least 20 deals before one of them actually becomes a deal.
Right.
This is 20 things that somebody's already told us is a deal, but they're probably not going to accept our offer. A lot of people are unrealistic about how much they're going to get for a house.
Right.
If the house needs work, you're not going to get full market value.
No.
If it needs anything, and that sometimes it's funny. I mean, you find these houses, there's nothing wrong with them. They were just built in 1985 and haven't been updated since then.
Right.
And it's just not in style. So you're not going to get the same price as the new home that got built this year, you know, with the quartz countertops and the wood flooring, you know, like all the stuff that's popular right now. Yeah, you're not going to get the same price. You're going to take a cut. And so, you could probably sell it if it just needs a facelift. You know, if everything works, you can sell it and it can get bank financing and a normal person can buy it and live in it as a home. But if it needs work where, like, you know, the roof is bad or, you know, the garage door is missing and the windows are busted out, I mean, if there's real problems with the house, you know, bank won't lend on it.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you know, FHA has guidelines to like what needs to be there. So if you have a garage door opener in your house, it needs to operate. It needs to actually work.
Wow.
To qualify for an FHA loan. I mean, there's certain requirements that loans have, that banks have. Like, you know, they have to be a house that works.
Wow.
Obviously, roof problems won't cut, won't make it. You know, if there's anything wrong with a pool, if you have a pool, the equipment needs to work. It needs to filter properly. Like, if you have a green pool, that's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And yeah, we've bought lots of green pools. And yeah, some were grosser than others. You know, we always joke every time, like, you know, how much do I have to pay you to take a swim in this thing right now? Oh, but yeah, some were pretty bad. You know, but yeah, you know, you see houses where there's a hole in the living room, like in the ceiling of the living room, because the bathtub upstairs had a leak in it.
Jeez. Somebody
Somebody might have put a tile shower in and didn't hot mop it, you know, which is basically putting a layer of tar down before you put all the tile on top, because it creates a water barrier, and that way everything goes into the drain properly. You know, we've bought stuff with all kinds of problems with it, and you know, even fences, walls, if they're like. I know we bought a house one time that didn't qualify for bank financing because the block wall in the backyard leaned because of a tree that was on the neighbor's side. The roots were growing and caused the wall to lean, but it had leaned like that for like 30 years. So it was structurally sound. Like, you could jump up and down on this wall and it wasn't coming over. But because it had this lean to it, it got denied FHA financing. And, you know, FHA... the way their appraisals work is, like, once something like that comes back, there's a certain amount of time that stands. Like,
oh, really?
Unless you remedy it. So unless you fix the wall, then you can call for another inspection or an appraisal. But if somebody else tries to buy it with FHA, it'll get called immediately. You know, like, nope, that house has the wall that has a lean to it, you know?
Yeah, and then the investor comes in and says, well, I can give you this price and you can leave now.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Exactly. I'll pay cash, or I'll get a hard money lender to lend me the money.
Exactly.
And there you go. You could sell the house, but it's a problem that you know, that's pretty much all we do is get people out of their problems.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's nice to be a problem solver, isn't it?
It is.
It's very rewarding.
Problem solving is fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's something that.
Okay. Yeah, that surprises me too. I didn't even know about that. Wow.
Yeah,
that blows me away.
We hear about all kinds of fun stuff. There's times where we've tried to sell a property after we're done with it.
Okay.
And we've gotten called out for things like that too.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
Do you have any recent examples of that?
Gosh. Well, I mean, pretty much on every single house we do, there's an inspection that happens at the end.
Okay.
On every house. You know, as long as if they're buying it to live in, it's going to have an inspection. And we get called out from all kinds of different things at the end. Like, we think we're done, but you know, little things pop up. Like, there was one we just did. We had an inspection come back, and a section of the rain gutter was missing. It was just an oversight. We had no idea. We're like, oh, okay, we were missing a part of the rain gutter. So we had to go put a section of rain gutter up.
Literally, that was the only thing.
That was one of them. There was a few other minor things that happened there. What was? Oh, we didn't know that there was a sewer drain issue on that same house where there was a big crack in the sewer drain. So that was a $4,000 thing that we didn't expect to have to spend money on. But yeah, you have to do it. It got called out on the inspection. So, you know, you can't sell the house with a busted sewer line, especially now that they found it. Now we know about it. You got to fix it. So fix that. You know, of course, hire a contractor for that stuff, because you want to get that properly signed off.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're going to come out and inspect it again.
Exactly. And, of course, if the contractor did it wrong, you know, that's his fault, not yours.
Right.
If you don't hire a contractor, if you do bad work, or if the work isn't up to snuff, you are the one that's responsible as the former owner, the one that did the work. Yeah. So
how much did you spend on that deal entirely, do you think?
That entire rehab. That was a house we did in Inglewood.
Okay.
It's closing escrow tomorrow. We're selling it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's closing tomorrow. And that one altogether, I looked at the budget today. We went over a little bit because of that sewer drain issue.
Right.
But altogether, it was just under $45,000 we spent on that rehab.
Wow.
But that was a whole house, and that's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house.
That's crazy.
$45,000 on a tiny little house like that. But it needed a lot of work. We had to do stuff. We had to pour new concrete. It had foundation problems. It had all kinds of stuff. So a lot of work, a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
A lot of little things. We thought we were coming in way under budget, and then we go in and stuff starts coming up, and then this inspection, and then the rain gutter.
Jeez.
We didn't mind the rain gutter.
No, the rain gutter probably wasn't too bad.
If that's the worst of my problems, I'll take that any day.
Any day.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of leads me to another question. I mean, I get when you look at the entirety of that budget, I mean, $45,000. That's a pretty big threshold, a barrier, barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Threshold right there. What kinds of things can people do to join with you in JV deals for Community Restoration Group? Right. This was a JV deal, was it not?
This was a JV deal. That one. The girl that we partnered on that one with, she's a real estate agent.
Okay.
And this was a deal that she had found. It was a family friend or something like that. And she actually called me originally because she wanted to borrow money. She called because she thought we would lend, but we stopped lending.
Okay.
Like in about June of last year, we stopped doing the loan program. So I said, we just stopped the loan program literally like a week prior to that.
Wow.
And I said, but we're doing this new joint venture thing. And it took a little while for that deal to actually get into escrow.
Okay.
It was a bit of a process because they had, family issues and stuff they had to figure out for that. But once we got into escrow, we closed that thing pretty quick, and we started work right away. But she wanted to have us show her how to do it because a lot of times we find real estate agents they're watching these real estate investors do it, and they're like, I could totally, I know how to find these things. I just, never knew how to put them together.
Exactly.
So, they don't know how much it costs to renovate a house. They don't know, they don't know any of that stuff. So she partnered with us because she thought I could learn from these guys, and she's learned a ton.
And do you think she'll be coming back again and doing this whole process again?
Well, she said she would. So
there you go.
We'll see what happens. But we've gone and looked at more proproperties with her.
Yes, we have. I remember that. I remember coming down to Inglewood and seeing that space and then going to another house.
Mm-hmm. And she did a great job. She managed
really
that
did.
project really well for us. We changed the program a little bit from when we started with her because we were originally letting them hire the contractors, the joint venture partners. We're letting them hire the contractors. We were letting them run the projects and do all kinds of stuff related to it. But now we're running the projects because we realized we have way more experience doing that. It was just a much more valuable thing for the joint venture partner to see how we do it and how we run a project. So we've now devoted our resources to all the JV projects, which is great because you get to see how a professional organization handles these things. And had we on this project hired our team, that sewer thing would have been caught very early on.
Really?
Yeah, that would have been found out early. That wouldn't have come up at the end.
Wow.
Because we would have identified that at the very beginning.
Okay, and it wouldn't have cost as much, right?
It would have cost the same, but we would have identified it earlier.
Yeah, and you would have gotten the thing sold off that much quicker.
Yeah, and we would have finished that project quicker. I'm confident that project would have gotten done at least 3 weeks sooner than
wow.
Yeah, it's just she hired a guy that she knew that had done some work for her real estate company before, and and he did a pretty good job, but he did leave a lot of little things, and we had to step in a few places and say, no, I think you're configuring the kitchen poorly. I
do remember that.
We had to reconfigure the kitchen a little bit because it wasn't it wasn't going to be a very functional kitchen. He had things spread out over the room that was weird, so we reconfigured it, and he did it for it. He did a good job. It just he didn't have the I guess he didn't have the experience to lay out a kitchen.
We were asking about surprises earlier, and what surprises me a lot about this business is the fact that you have to have an eye for interior design as well.
Which I don't have a good of one.
But
Steve does. Steve's better at it than me. So a lot of times when it comes to a design decision, I know the cost of all this stuff.
Right.
So when Steve starts spouting off the things he wants to do, I can tell you how much that's going to cost.
Okay.
But and he can too. But he's better at saying, you know what we should do? We should move this wall completely over there,
Right.
and put this right here and do that, and he can draw it out and all that. I can't draw a straight line to save my life. I wouldn't even know what to do with a sketch
I think
pad.
he uses a ruler.
Yeah, is that how it's done?
I think that's how it's done. But I know that was something that happened in the Inglewood project, and I mean, there was a lot of walls being changed around, but it seemed like it's come to fruition. I mean, the deal's closing, and you guys are going to make a lot of money off of it, which is fantastic.
Well, yeah, it sold for $35,000 more than we thought it would.
Wow.
So, but that's the Inglewood market right now. Out in LA, that market's just going crazy.
Right.
And between us, I don't know how much longer it can really sustain going that direction.
Really?
LA is more expensive based upon the wages that are in LA. It's more expensive to live there than anywhere else in the country, I've heard right now.
Seriously, even more so than like San Francisco and Silicon Valley.
The Bay Area, because their wages are so much higher, it's actually more affordable for the people that currently live there for the wage that they make. Obviously, prices are crazy there.
Right.
Like LA can't compete with their prices.
Right.
Orange County's getting close, but they can afford it. It's more affordable for the people with the wages up in the Silicon Valley.
That's crazy.
Than it is for people with the wages in Los Angeles.
I guess that's why they raised the minimum wage to $15 over there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that helping them?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we will. We will.
It's kind of an experiment. Seattle started doing the whole thing with the wage. They started offering a higher minimum wage.
Right.
And it's had positive and negative effects on their economy.
Right.
So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, definitely.
That's something. It's interesting. It's cool to see new things happening in the economy.
Right.
Because we're sort of in uncharted waters right now.
We really are.
So it's interesting to see some of the things that are coming, through the economy right now. I don't know. Well, a lot of it is kind of like, let's just put this program in place and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know if it's good or bad. It sounds good. Some things sound really good on paper, but
Right.
when you put them out there, you realize they have negative effects, which are surprising, but you learn a lot from it.
Yeah.
And it's better than just kind of going along as we always have. 'Cause,
Exactly.
Things need to change. We're in a different environment. We're in a different economy than we ever have been. Automation's a big deal.
Right.
Manufacturing being shipped off, or manufacturing just becoming more efficient too. You don't need a whole assembly line of people going down screwing things together anymore.
Right.
Machines can do that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of people are wondering what's going to be the next sort of like blue collar job.
Okay.
Like, what are people going to do?
What do you think it is?
Well, I think there's a lot of little services that people can do.
Okay.
Things like Uber,
Yeah.
Uber has taken off. I mean, if you have a skill of some kind, I mean, as simple as, do you have a car and are you licensed and are you insured is all
Right.
you need to be an Uber driver, and don't be completely creepy. You can drive a car and drive people places.
There you go.
And get paid to do it.
Yeah.
But if you're good at other stuff too, I mean, you figure if you're good at with a calculator and spreadsheets, you could basically do bookkeeping on your own for
Right.
companies. A company could hire out for bookkeeping.
Okay.
And you can, keep track of people's receipts for them, and here you go.
Wow.
Your accounts are reconciled. You can be good at lots of stuff. I think there's going to be a lot more people doing their own little thing, their own business. I think it's going to be a lot more common going into
that's great.
I think it's good. I think it's great. The whole big business thing kind of came about as the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
Where these big businesses and working for a big company, getting a pension, that was a thing that happened recently.
Yeah.
Before that, I mean, farmers were huge. Like, farming was like the business.
Right.
Like, what do you mean you're doing something other than farming?
Yeah, exactly.
Like pretty much every business tied to agriculture in some way.
Right.
Even people that were buggy makers, it's like you needed a buggy to transport your stuff to the market. I mean, you needed horses, so you had horseshoe people,
Right.
people, blacksmiths and stuff that made these things and made the tools. And it's, the agricultural business that was one of the first ones to get automated.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you figure with, these huge tractors that can do all this cool stuff, and, it's pretty amazing watching a farming operation now.
Yeah.
I saw a video most people probably wouldn't want to hear about, but it was about like chicken farming and how they process chickens into packaging, essentially.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing how many chickens they can process in a minute.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It definitely, it blew my mind. But yeah, with automation, people are going to have to start having skills of their own. And
Right.
I think a lot of people are going to work kind of, very small little businesses of their own doing stuff. You think more people have disposable income, they can, they can afford, say, a laundry service.
Right.
Somebody can come to their home, pick up their laundry, go wash it, or wash it at their house in their own washing machine. I don't know. There's just little things people can do, and it's a service business. A lot of people hire landscapers, people to mow their lawn. That's one of the older, businesses that you could do. A lot of kids would do that growing up. They'd go around and mow your neighbor's lawns, I heard about a cool one the other day where the kid will take your trash cans out on trash day and then put them back, and for $1 a trash can a week. You figure most people have, 3 trash cans?
Right.
So you're making $3 a week from all your neighbors.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah. Why not? It sounds like something you could do.
A little side hustle for you.
Yeah, side hustle. It could become a real hustle.
There you go.
I don't know. There's I think there's just going to be a lot more people doing things for other people, and I think there's more
service-based stuff.
Yeah, you can go on. There's a website called Upwork.com. It used to be called Freelancer. So if you, for example, could build a website, or if you're a graphic designer, or if you're, if you could do anything now and post it on the internet and get work. I know for our Christmas party, we hired people on the internet for we hired a bartender to be able to tend the bar, and he was great.
Yeah, he
we had
was.
a good time. He made drinks well. You can hire a party planner online. You can do all kinds of stuff. And I mean, pretty much anything is available online. We just hired a meal prep company.
Yes.
To prep meals. I'm now on day 2 of the meal preps.
How you liking it?
They're good. I like it. I like the food, but even better, I just like not having to think about it.
There you go.
I like not having to think, okay, what am I going to make? What do I have to buy at the grocery store? You know, it's nice not to have to really think about it. I just have to pop a thing in the microwave for a few minutes and eat, and then go back to what I'm doing.
There you go.
I'm not a chef, so I can cook, but I'm not a chef.
All right.
Anyway, and the food I cook is not good for you.
Oh,
so
come on.
Barbecue or something.
Oh, there you go.
So those are some interesting things going on in the economy. I didn't think we were going to talk about it, but hey,
no, I mean,
we have to keep our eye on a lot of different things.
Oh, you really do, especially in the real estate market. I mean, you'd be surprised how many things affect what that looks like for us. And I mean, as an investor, you really have to be mindful of other opportunities out there, not just in real estate. There's a lot of things that are involved with each transaction.
Yeah,
everything changes.
You got to keep your ear,
ear to the ground, Tonto.
Ear to the ground, exactly.
There you go.
Good job. I like
you.
that. You can complete my my
sentences.
Yeah, sandwiches.
There you go. Sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's good. But yeah, you have to keep a constant look at the economy.
Absolutely.
I mean, with the crash that happened in 2007, I say 2007. Everybody else says 2008.
Right.
But,
it started.
The crash happened in 2007
Yeah,
here, because pretty much New Century. That was the big mortgage broker that went under in April of 2007. Maybe it was March. It was either March or April. Now I can't remember. So it's like, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah,
Jeez.
can you believe it?
I can't. That's actually crazy. I just thought about it. But yeah, New Century went under, and pretty much that day the market crashed.
Wow.
The real estate market. I mean, there were properties in Moreno Valley that were selling for $350,000 that in 2009 sold for $60,000.
Holy cannoli.
Yeah. I bought a few of those.
Yeah, nicely done.
But I mean, it's crazy how much the market actually dropped.
So would you say there's still deals out there then for someone like ourselves or someone who's trying to get into the business as an investor or something like that? There's still deals out there during a time like that, during a recession?
When you're going into a recession, there's a few things you want to keep in mind.
Okay.
And so when cash flow comes back, and that is that when you can buy a property and rent it out,
right,
and your mortgage will be less than what you can rent it for,
okay,
that's a good time to buy, because if you can't flip it, it's always a rental. But whenever you're buying a flip in a downturn, you have to account for potential market decreases.
Right.
So prior to the crash, we hadn't really had a market decrease in 1 year of more than 20%.
Wow.
In California, in decrease in price.
Right.
But this most recent recession changed those rules a little bit.
Right.
So, normally you could kind of account for a 25% declination in price and purchase the property based upon what you expect the property to be worth, 6 months from now.
Okay.
You could do that. You could still flip, but I think I'll be very cautious myself doing that when the next recession comes. I don't think it's coming anytime soon.
Okay.
And because we haven't had a crazy run up yet.
Right.
You don't have the big crash until you've had the big run up.
Right.
So if we were to hit a recession right now, what does that even look like?
Exactly.
It looks like a quieting down.
Right.
Which it's not even loud right now. So I think we're basically just going to continue coasting along like this for a little while. Because there's still a lot of other things in the economy in general that have to catch up.
Exactly.
Jobs are still a concern for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even though unemployment's low, we still have a low unemployment. It's still a concern. Plus, there's a lot of people, the baby boomers we always hear about, that are supposed to be retiring soon. So a lot of them already have.
I'm hearing a lot of them can't just because they don't have the money available to them.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee that their pension's going to be there either.
Exactly.
So Social Security, there's a lot of problems that are still kind of facing the economy right now. I'm not really concerned about these things because it's a matter of allocating resources to different places, and we'll see. I mean, it's tough to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But based upon what's happening currently, are we looking at a big crash? No. I mean, it's just not. It's not in the cards, at least in Southern California real estate.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about the stock market because I think
that's a volatile beast.
That it's been set to crash for like 2 years now. I'm like waiting for that thing to crash.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I just want people to know that there's still opportunity out there even when
there are. Not like buying a $60,000 house that you can sell 5 years later for $300,000. Nothing like that.
No.
But not here anyway.
Right.
There might be other places in the country that sort of thing is happening.
Right.
I'm thinking about places like parts of Florida.
Really?
Even some people are kind of jumping into the Detroit area right now. I don't currently invest out of state. I don't know enough about another state to invest out of state. I know Southern California, and I don't really see a reason to leave, but people do.
Okay.
So if you ever want to invest out of state, find somebody that does and talk to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not the guy to talk to about out-of-state stuff.
I mean, just every day that I look at MLS, just the sheer amount of deals available out there. I mean, in the thousands, and we have super specific criteria that we use.
We're just looking in the Inland Empire.
We're just looking in the Inland Empire, and I get thousands every day.
Yeah,
it's brand amazing. New every day.
Yeah,
and it's
there's
just
new
incredible.
Ones. Yeah, every single day.
Yeah,
they're out there.
So,
what else? What else is interesting going on in real estate, or for you? I mean, because you were focusing on commercial.
I was.
So now kind of moving into residential, it's different too because
totally different.
This new thing called emotion comes into the picture, which in commercial, it is tough. It's tough to in commercial, an investor is buying the property. Commercials are not commercial property is not sold to a regular commercial buyer. Of course, there are some businesses that are owner occupied.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're business people,
and
their mentality is different. It's
totally.
Is this business going to help us make money?
Exactly.
Or is this
they're all dollars and cents?
Exactly. It has to make sense for the money.
Right.
And they look at doing rehab on these buildings practically thinking, okay, I'm going to have to spend X amount of dollars to get this property to be what we need it to be, and it's all money. It has nothing to do with emotion.
Exactly.
Maybe some.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. You
want to be all practical.
You want to have a nice view or something like that because some people like to have a showy office where they have some people like to be on the corner office on like 2 main streets in town. Some people like that kind of stuff.
Oh, someone like Todd?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm not that showy, but but people that buy houses it's a very emotional purchase for them because you're looking at raising a family there, or maybe looking to retire there. There's a lot of different reasons people buy, and something as simple as the paint color on a wall can change somebody's opinion of a house.
100%. And I haven't necessarily gotten to the point where I get to work with an agent and get to see that whole transaction happen, but I know I'm going to be.
And it's annoying. Like I'll paint it for you. Like if you don't like the color, change it. It's not permanent. You can do things to your house. It's yours.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's the hard thing about being an agent selling somebody a home. Is that you have to get them to move into it in their minds, and you have to get them excited about the prospect that this new home brings.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's that's the challenge is dealing with emotion.
Okay.
And that's basically what an appraiser does.
Yeah.
So when an appraiser appraises a home versus a commercial building, a home is appraised because you have to make your best value judgment at what a buyer is willing to pay.
Right.
And it's an emotional decision. So the house on the west side of the street might not have a view, but everything on the east side has a view on that side of the street. And a view could be worth how much? How much is a view worth?
Know.
You have no idea. What are you looking at?
Yeah.
Are you looking at downtown Los Angeles, or are you looking at, a canyon, or are you looking at, some other people's houses, like the backyards of other people, know, who knows what you're looking at. So what's a view worth? What's a pool worth?
Right.
And that's what an appraiser has to try and figure out when they're appraising a house is what's somebody going to be willing to pay for this? And they get it wrong, Sometimes we do too. We, like that house in Inglewood, if we figured we were going to sell it for what, I think $430, and what we sell it for is $475.
Wow.
And it appraised, I mean, we had no idea we were going to sell for that much. I'm glad we did, but hey.
I'm glad you did too. That just kind of shows you, how quickly economic factors can change in an area.
Absolutely.
From the start of your project to the end of your project, it was 6 months?
Yeah, about that.
And just crazy how things can shift in a market.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. All right, we're running a little short on time, so I want to talk a little bit about the club again, in case anybody out there is interested in becoming a real estate investor or learning more or getting to know other real estate investors.
Yeah.
Come to the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. We meet at the Mission Inn every fourth Wednesday of the month. We also have other meetings that we do. One of them is the Saturday morning coffee, which is coming up this Saturday. That'll be at the Lift Coffee Roasters in Riverside on Chicago, I believe it is. And very nice place, great coffee. That starts at 8 in the morning because
so excited.
Saturday morning coffee, so we got to go in the morning.
Yeah.
We hang out there for about an hour or two.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Get to talk to some people. It's just networking. It's free. Come on by. There's no sales pitch or anything like that. We just talk about real estate deals. And
Todd and I will be there this week.
We'll be there. Stephen and Matthew will not be there. They're going to be gone.
Out of town.
Yeah,
weird.
Maybe they're going to be out of town together. I don't know.
Oh.
We'll have to. No, they're going. They're going with their ladies somewhere.
Yeah.
So Tyler and I will be there, and that's Saturday morning, 8 a.m. at the Lift Coffee Roasters, and then the big monthly meeting that we do, the one that's $20 a month, $20 to come to. That's at the Mission Inn. That's we open the doors at 6:30 at night, and that goes till it's supposed to end at 9, but we usually kind of ended around 9:30ish, somewhere around there. Last month we ended at almost 10 because we had our guest Robert Fragoso.
That man's a talker.
Oh, he's a talker. But
goodness, was it good info?
I would pay him to read the phone book.
Heck yeah.
He's just that good at what he does. So that was a great meeting. If you made
Absolutely.
If you missed it, hopefully we can get that video up soon because that's great content.
Absolutely.
So that's then. Then we have our cash flow game that we do the first Wednesday of every month. So that'll be the first Wednesday in March.
Okay.
With the next one, that's in Ukaipa. We do that at the Bar and Grill Company out there.
Okay.
And I'm going to be going to that one. I've made a promise. I will be going to it.
Awesome.
I haven't been to it. So in the meantime, have a great week, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully this Saturday and definitely next Thursday right here on KCAA. Have a good week, everyone.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.